Every present is different from its past. Man's evolution is a series of solutions to his problems. Every comfort we enjoy and every invention that helps mankind is a solution to a problem that once bothered us. As Albert Einstein said, we can't solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. And the clue to this lies in what is popularly called design thinking, which is a creative problem solving methodology that starts from understanding and addressing human needs. It is a skill that all innovators in literature, art, music, science, engineering, and business have been practicing for ages. It's a skill that could come in handy to everyone, right from the techie nerd at Silicon Valley to the farmer who feeds the nation. Design courses, much sought after across the world and also in many states of India, are yet to be familiarized to the people of Andhra Pradesh. Today we have with us Sri Shekhar Mukharjee, the Director of National Institute of Design, Andhra Pradesh, to enlighten us about this creative and futuristic field of study, the prestigious institute, and his 25 plus years of professional journey as a design educator, animator, cartoonist, festival director, and graphic storyteller. The story of this passionate storyteller traces back to Bangladesh, from where his family moved to Calcutta as refugees after partition. Inheriting artistic genes from his grandfather, little Shekhar, who would spoil papers by smearing colors and scribbling on them, produces his first comic book when he was barely 13. A meritorious student, yet known to be good for nothing, would declare he wants to be a political cartoonist when he grows up. Little did the people who would roll with laughter at his proclamation know that this enthusiastic boy would not only become a cartoonist in future but also would head one of the most prestigious design institutes in India. A well-deserving appreciation from the reputed publications like the Illustrated Weekly, Times of India, and CBT at a very young age boost his confidence, and he takes off to land in the place where he was meant to be, National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad, for doing his masters. Jumping from one job to another and learning a lot in this process, Sri Shekhar Mukherjee eventually joins his alma mater NID Ahmedabad and continues to be a senior faculty from 2002 to 2018. He is also the NID Film Club chairman and the artistic founder of iconic Chitrakatha, a biennial international animation festival since 2007. Nature Award from CNBC TV 18 for his outstanding contribution to the cause of animation education in India. In 2018, he took charge as director of NID AP and has made a big difference in the qualitative growth of the institute and is committed to elevate its standards to be one of the finest design institutes in the country. Along with his student mentorship, he also regularly practices and contributes cartoons, illustrations, mural, graphic experiments, etc. Welcomes him with a big thanks to the 38th session of Click Talks.
Okay, good belated morning, everyone, friends. I hope I'm audible. Am I audible? Okay.
Yes, sir. Shekharji, you're audible, and thank you very much for coming.
Thank
We
you,
are
Krishna.
long-awaited session. Your side,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, irony is, even though I'm in Vijayawada right now, we are all far away, and I came to Calcutta because of such an urgency. But at the same time, technology is allowing us this kind of platform to share stories and listening to other stories and to get familiar with. And thank you, Krishna ji, once again, for for inviting me. I don't know how much justice I'll do to my talk today, and I'm kind of flattered by your introductory video.
Thank
So,
you, sir. Thank you. With my very minimum skills of video editing, I did this.
no, I think today that is what also I'm going to talk about. That what we mean by designer, and what this National Institute of Design Andhra Pradesh eventually I got a chance to mentor it. I have definitely a responsibility, but it is not individual work. It's like, I believe, an effort of building a community, design enabled community.
Yes,
So so not to delay further, you tell me, Krishna, how much time we have for this? Like
yeah. So generally, it's between 1 to 2 hours.
okay, so one
Yeah.
and a half hour, one and a half.
Quite all right. 1.5 hours is comfortable.
Okay, okay, very good. Just give me two more minutes. I have to connect one plug. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I will straight away go to. I have a couple of presentations, and I generally don't like to talk too much. Of course, most of my conversations are overlap of thoughts. It's always a kind of, academically speaking, what we call cross reference. And I largely grew up listening stories and memorizing them, and then recreate the stories in my own way, and in journey where the curiosity which drives me, the curiosity which is very key essence, I believe, for anything, for this human race to move ahead. And then, in spite of all the challenges and the struggles, this curiosity, and with the good being, good self, we always believe that we need to do good to others, and then only others will do good to us. And this is a very mutual understanding and the value based learning what we go ahead with. So my story today is what I say, three act. I will be rather getting into the presentation, and then I will take along, and then after my presentation, we can have question answer, but in between also we can interrupt. And I always believe that I was sharing that Bertrand Russell is one of the education philosopher who was kind of inspired me to some extent through my mentor. And and my screen is visible, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
And then one line I always say is that, when a child is adult enough to ask a question, we as an adult are bound to answer that. And that's very important. And often children are much more adult than the adult, because I believe that with the aging process, when we think that we become adults, then our curiosity might die. We become little more conscious, and we stop telling truth. So this is where I think education always encourages that the relation between mentor and the children or the students are always a togetherness. And I must tell you, I still didn't get a chance. It's my fault to visit your school, Krishna. Uh, I think it's one of the spirit I felt because my family already visited.
Yes, yes.
And we in spirit we are together. So I will start my presentation. Why I'm calling it design stories in three acts. In as a storytelling, we always go by three act stories: beginning, middle, and end. But in this story, I also learned that there is nothing called end. And I live with a family of educators, my Mrs. She's also an educator. She also a curious person, and we perhaps always on argument of things which is much more related to topics of different kind than just talking about like whether I forgot to do some shopping today or not. So the conversation goes, and here comes the beginning, in middle, and end is always there, but there is no order in it. So some beginning maybe end of something else. So it means it's a continuous stories, and that's why there is a line called River of Stories. So I will talk about like Act One, which is basically a little bit about myself, and for me, which I had difficulties in my younger days when like in a countries like ours where we are kind of influenced by learning foreign language much faster than respecting our own tongue, like our own sound, our own mother language or dialects. And we somewhere feel that if I don't speak good English or if I don't speak good German or French, I'm not a civilized Indian. And that paradigm is perhaps changing. But above all, any language for me, I had struggled. My family wanted me to go to an English medium when I was a child or young boy, and I wrote everything reverse. I was a left-hander, and I wrote everything like a mirror image. My name, my whatever question I read, I half of them I didn't understand, and I think for me it became like a very reverse mirror image gibberish. So, and like what we talk about, like the children's language is when a child learn to speak in we tell that gibberish. We tell that it's a gibberish. But today I'll tell you, maybe those language we still don't decode. Maybe that is the language which the animals also speak. Maybe that language which is inspired many of the classical singers to listen to, the sound of the river and the wind and the leaves falling, and came up with different ragas, seeing the different change of season and seeing the life around, and came with so many different thoughts. And it's orally transmitted. So what is basically today in this journey of design education, I'll tell you, I am so far I couldn't design a racing car or anything. Like I also don't know how to drive a car. With much more struggle, I know how to ride a bicycle. But for me, picture comes before the word. And for everyone, picture is the only thing which communicates. Picture is something what we call image. And when you look at an image, then you imagine. So every moment when you're looking at people, we are looking at the person as an image, and then we try to brain move so fast, and it try to do some kind of calculation inside us, and then it tells you, hey, what kind of talk you have to have a talk. So but my excitement still remains since my younger days. Picture, it's only picture and picture and picture, and that drew me into like family. It's a big family, and of course in that English medium I didn't get a chance. Then my mother luckily put me into a Bengali medium school. It's very close by, it's near my house. So I was very happy that you don't have to get into a crowded school bus, you don't have to fight for a better seat, you don't have to get stuck in a traffic jam, you don't have to reach to a school tired, then you have to face a very tough teacher asking tougher questions. You know, I feel that kind of trauma I didn't go through for quite some time till I reached to a higher classes. But what saved me in long run, that I by then discover when I going to higher classes, my formula become that I have to get my pass marks, but I will keep on drawing and I will keep on reading books. And if the picture books, merrier. I will listen to song and music. I'll also love to watch film. And for me, the comedy and humor was become a kind of second nature. And I feel that today, quoting from Charlie Chaplin, who become my actual mentor from a virtual mentor, is a day without laughter is a day wasted. And if you look at it, that no matter whatever struggle we go through, we always crack jokes. But yes, mind it, that joke should not be cracked at cost of others. But first, I should be able to laugh at myself, and then before I laugh at something else. But it should develop that kind of standard. Now, here, since it's Sunday today, I thought we will have a little bit of brunch, and then I will take you forward about where the design thinking also comes from. And I always feel that design becomes such a heavy, serious term, then we stop doing it with merry, with happiness, with laughter, you know. And when we crack jokes, when we laugh at a situation, when we are struggling to something, and then you give up, you said, you crack some jokes and you laugh at it saying, nahi hoga, it is not possible. And believe me, that is the first time what we are questioning ourselves, that what is the problem and how I can solve it. And then every time what happened in country like ours, there is a word comes in our design thinking or design application called jugaad. You improvise. Your umbrella become your weapon. Yeah, your umbrella doesn't function, but it become your shopping bag. You know, so many things, so many way we improvise. So let's see. Today we are standing on a juncture where internet technology is rapidly galloping to cope with this problem and make still trying its best to make the world get connected, people get connected. Different topics are emerging. People are becoming much more outspoken in a good way. I think it is also reminding us that how fast we have to be. And then there is a talk about, okay, one hand we are talking about artificial intelligence, and then there is a talk, even our ministry is also bringing into this topic of thought provocation, responsible artificial intelligence, that how much intelligence should go to the machine and how much intelligence you as a human being should have, so you don't become a slave to the machine. This is what the branch I'll start with. I hope it plays. So the thing is, this statement, which is the part of the joke on the too much of dependence on mechanization, like it's almost like how we are completely forgetting the human touch, the smell of the rain, this lockdown I started discovering because I spent 18 years in Ahmedabad, in National Studies in Ahmedabad. And as a student, I was there 4 years. And the best part was when our mentors basically tell us that you don't sit inside the classroom, go out and discover life. Go out and learn how to climb a tree, hug the tree, listen to the tree, listen to the sound, listen to the smell, and your five senses. What made us part of the living ecosystem, this living organism. And this living organism is everything. Even in our philosophy, when we talk about a chair has a life, yeah, and that's what Japanese talk about. But when Japanese talk about, we give more importance without realizing the fact that we have our deepermost philosophy, and that is where the strength comes from. Like this is something I think we are standing on a juncture where I feel always that it's not matter of teacher or student, it's a matter of mentors and the young minds, those who get mentored under. So the mentor will be kind of nurturing you. They're like a gardener, and this statement, the great Charlie Chaplin, which is talking about, and in each of his film, for me, Charlie Chaplin is a Bible. It's a Bible. It's a Bible of the what human being are capable of. He not used to write his stories, but design the costumes, design the machines, design the set, direct, not to be happy with the one take, hundreds of takes, sitting on an editing table, perfecting the outcome, and that sharp eyes one develop. So what we talk about in design education is nothing but the perfection of a carpenter who makes a perfect chair or a table so it doesn't collapse, perfection of a mason who do the bricklaying so the brick doesn't collapse or there is no wind passes by, the perfection of a doctor who actually take responsibility of operating people or serving people or treating people so one doesn't die of wrong medicine. So this perfection comes completely for individual curiosity and journey, whatever we do. So design education for me, in retrospect, looking back, is not necessarily very glamorous profession. It is even those who become glamorous or those who come under the limelight, you can check it out. Maybe most of them are working 18 hours a day with heavy pressure and stress, which we deal with. But what we need to know that it's very important to find the mentor, good mentor. That is, I think, is very important. In my school days, I really didn't get a mentor. I was not very fortunate, but neither in my college days. I had to study something else, which was not of my own interest. And to be an artist was always a last bencher's thought, because during some time you had to be an engineer or a much more accepted professions in a society. A lot of things have changed today. The world is actually opened up much more. So this gentleman was my mentor. I discovered him on the streets of Calcutta, just moving around with my sketchbook and drawing and doodling. And then I was invited to his house, and then we become such a great friend. He is a self-taught person. He's an editor, translator, proofreader. He translated from 4 languages, equal efficiency. Bengali, Hindi, English, and Sanskrit. And then he became a mentor of telling stories, stories of great India, stories of the world, stories of the future, stories of the geopolitics, stories of the geoeconomics, stories of the anticipation, stories of great minds, stories of Tagore, stories of Aravinda, stories of Chaplin, and also with a lot of humor, a lot of laughter, and sharp wit. You know, like he was not having any family. He was of his own, and whenever people used to ask him, he's no more. I lost him suddenly, but his spirit stays with me. I recall that he always used to tell me and quote me from great minds, and it's very important. Sometimes we need to revisit our great thoughts. This whole subcontinent gave birth to some of the great minds, where we need to discover themselves. You know, we need to find out why Shantiniketan should not be considered, Vishwabharati, Tagore School should not be considered one of the early design school in this country. Why we have to always say only Bauhaus is the only design school in this world. Thoughts are changing. It's a post-truth world. So when people used to tell him that, don't you feel lonely that you don't have a family? He said, I have 12 cats and millions of bed bugs. I don't feel lonely. And I have thousands of books, and they're the best friends. So from here, I think that kind of mentorship what gives me strength time to time. And here I like to talk about quickly about this journey, and then comics and cartoon become my vehicle of communication. Because as I said that I love pictures, so just give me a moment. I just want to quickly show you how I'm trying to tell the story of me about. Is it visible now? This file?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
So this is during my faculty days when I was teaching at NID. I started publishing kind of a monthly comics, 1-page or 2-page comics for our design magazine. It's called Design is the Problem Solving Tool. And down there, if you see this character, this is me. Because I always feel I wish I should born as a girl child, not as a boy child. So I dress myself as a girl child with a pony, and and I have an iconic mole, and so this is I encountered that what is the answer of life, what is the origin of life, why we always ask why. So where the why came from. So then Gandhi told me that you have to go to a design school in Ahmedabad, and there you might find some answer. And that's how I landed as a student there. And this comics called Design is a Problem Solving Tool, and it is a continuous process. It's not yet over. And in that school in NID Ahmedabad, what I found, the beautiful school which the entire nation should follow or should be like that. And later, much later, I discovered how Tagore's influence came, and that's how NID came into the being. And today, more NIDs are coming up in this country, and I hope that soon we become a design-enabled country. But my interest at the end, in the Act 3, I'll tell you, lies with NID-AP. So this is where we talk about, like, I was just talking about one of the conversation with our mentors, where the essence of learning. So then I talk about in this comics that how I started with drawing, like listening to stories from my family members and documenting them, recalling them. So it seems I used to always draw on the wall, draw on the floor, draw on the new piece of cloth. And strangely, it seems my entire family, my grandparents, my aunt, uncle, parents, they never scolded me. So they actually, to some extent, spoil me, because when after getting over, in this process, I used to go in weekends to watch film. Then my grandfather used to take me to a joyride on a tramways, and then tramways become my favorite transport, public transport, because it's non-polluting. It just runs with an electric, and it's renewable energy. And why India should not have a tramways, more and more tramways all across India. All the cities should have tramways. And we might have lesser, at least some control over pollution. You see in the lockdown, at least the air quality becomes slightly better than before. But maybe we are not very happy about it because we want to pollute it more. So then the importance of the handmade food, the food which is being cooked at home in our own healthy microwave oven, yeah, the clay oven. So these are the things basically I talked about. Then birthday was something not in our culture, but the birthday had to happen because we are speaking English, and birthday become a big industrial festival. So you get a lot of gifts. But for me, the excitement was getting gift as a book, form of book. And then if you see, I'm talking about my influences, whether it's Tintin or Asterix uh, or, or Ghost of local culture or the religious festival of Ganeshas and Durgas, then Charlie Chaplin always stays. And the biggest crash landing I had when I had to go to school, and my grandfather, who was an artist, who taught me how to do watercolor in my very early days, not a watercolor technique, mind it. He used to give me the watercolors and brushes and used to tell me, do whatever you like to do. And that is the beautiful thing, which gives confidence. And then I had a very poor performance in colleges and university. The owner of the classical education told me that I have no room to survive in education. And I was preparing for some education further, and how difficult it is. I'm not understanding the questions and answers, and it was a trauma because I only want to draw and draw and draw. Then I went to our government art college in Calcutta, and since my drawings were cartoon, the funny drawings, they told me that I have to draw like this, the figure in the center. It has to have six-pack muscles, which is nothing to do with our own structure. Otherwise, it seems you are not an artist. You don't know how to draw. You have to know, you really have to know Leonardo da Vinci very well. So I just wondered then what's wrong with Abanindranath Tagore, what's wrong with Nandalal Bose, what's wrong with K.G. Subramaniam. So I didn't get a chance in art colleges. Till then, I got some response from Economic Times because they saw my cartoon which got published as one of the winner. So I got a job in Economic Times in Calcutta in design department. And this, the small rabbit is me. And I was thoroughly baptized. I was 20-year-old and I got a job. And my cartoon started getting published, but it was all related to business. And here came my early education in the college. I was a commerce graduate, even though I didn't perform well. But as I told you, I made my plan that I need to get pass marks and I'll continue drawing. And that is my main practice. So these become my design baptism. I learned the discipline, I learned the methods, I learned to take the critique, I learned to stick to the deadline, I learned to be very careful and so silly mistake doesn't happen. Even point zero should not be ignored. And that is something what is the beauty of life. Every moment you learn, nothing goes waste. So anyway, then comes also the important part, the context, the city. The city itself gave me lot of stories, the buildings, the architectures, the colony, the traveling vehicles, the nameplates and number plates, which state they're from, yellow taxis, yellow and black taxis, kerosene ran auto rickshaws, tramways again, the people in the street. I mean, it's amazing, amazing, amazing. And I'm talking about it is 1990. Yeah, a lot of things have changed now because even though there are crowd remain, but everybody looking at their mobile, they don't talk to each other. Yeah, maybe that is the biggest challenge in our civilization. So then I talk about the comparison, like how design was there embedded in our culture. The coolers, the clay pots for teacups, they give you yummy tea, or you get yogurt, the mishti doi in the shops. And then there is a cane basket, which is a dustbin. There is no plastic dustbin. They dump it on Some people will come and collect for exchange of some butter, and then it will go and they will grind it and they will make the one layer of the road lane. You know, somewhere, some places in some locality or neighborhood, road will be built with this kind of used coolers which is being grinded, but they are all disappeared and invaded with plastic cups. Even I've seen that people gather and say, save environment conference, and it ends with heaps of plastic, heaps and heaps and heaps of plastic. So this is where something I feel that we need to really look at it. And with the new age, what came, that automated design, artificial design, mechanical design, and we keep on buying stuff. We are keep on piling more and more junks, and this junk is going to engulf us. And this is what I think today's problem, what we look at is the how to cope with the garbage. Yeah, how, where we hide them. So how much we need. Then I talk about that. I always recall that how important it is. As I said, I watch film and I read books. And I love to read autobiographies. It's very important to know the journey of people's life. And I remember that, you know, the banana leaves, because the garden in the backyard, there is a banana tree. You get bananas, you get raw bananas, you get banana flowers, you get banana skin, you get banana leaves. Banana leaves become your plate. You get cooks stuff there, and the leftover goes to cats and dogs and cows and goats. Nothing goes waste. And there is a pond, and in that pond you use the ashes of the coal as the detergent powder or cleaning powder. No chemicals. We lost everything. And then my grandmother, as if she saw in the pond came the ship, and this ship came from maybe from English Channel, and they got a huge hose pipe of gadgets and gizmos. So I put my grandmother along with many crowds. They're all hypnotized. It became an obsession that I need supersonic stuff. I need the supersonic stuff so I can save the planet from the aliens. So this is the story which continues. You know, I don't want to continue further. So this is kind of my work in the Act 1. And I'm getting into Act 2, but if anybody wants to ask anything, or I can continue and wrap it up, then we can discuss. What do you suggest?
Sorry, if you continue, it's better, I think.
Okay. So Act 2. After my graduation, after I completed animation education, I was kind of, I found my way. You know, it is such a brilliant education culture in National Institute of Design. It's a studio-based culture. It is very much hands-on. It's learning by doing. There is nothing called making mistake. You call trial and error. But mind it, when you make one mistake and you correct it under the careful and able and sensible mentorship of your faculty, then you make sure that you don't make the same mistake again. But you may make new mistakes. So this is where I learned to sincerely maintain a designer's diary or a designer's journal. And that's your diary. It is nothing great. It is as good as when we used to write diaries. Yeah. Or when your mother or grandmother used to keep dhobi list. It's very important. There's a date written, how many clothes are given, how much sabji is being brought, what is the stock, how it's getting over, whether we'll get it tomorrow or not. So all these things. And what is the budget, that how much my income and how much should be my expenditure and how much we can save it for rainy day. This is where the design management comes from. No big deal. So I think this is where I feel that my experience says that the countries like ours, we struggle so much time and again in the hand of invaders, in the hand of colony, in the hand of natural calamities, diseases, and the big regional and provincial conflicts, and along with the hierarchy of the caste and creed. So we somewhere survived with all kind of struggle. But that is where our sustainability comes from, because our food is so simple. Our food is so healthy. It's so medicinal. But strangely, something happened in between. I feel that we started downplaying it. We are not necessarily looking back to it. We always felt that Elon Musk will have one formula solution for rest of the world. So NID gave me that kind of strength, So this is what I want to tell you, that this is three mentors in NID. Directly or indirectly, I came across, uh, not in sequence. Left side, Professor Kumar Vyas, one of the founding member of National Institute of Design, a brilliant industrial designer, but a human being with such empathy and humbleness. So much of humbleness, which is something, again, one needs to learn. He always talk about context, mean that where I am physically present, then I need to know that place, the neighbors around, the place around, the marketplace around, the doctor around, the hospitals around, the rail station around, bus station around, which buses goes from where to where. So it's simple questions when a child from crawling days started walking and asked the parents, tell me why? It is tell me why. These mentors remind us. Center we see MP Ranjan, another maverick, radical, outspoken, forever young chap. He talks about process. It's always a process and process and process. In that process, what we do design research, we do information collection, we identify the problem, we try to find alternative solution. We try to do trial and error. We try to find three alternative solutions. When we do the research, when you do information collections, we try to acknowledge. We try to acknowledge that where we are taking the information from, who is inspiring us, which film or book I read. I try to write down the book's editions, publishers, particular paragraphs. So if you look at it, this education was so stress-free, but yet it is so rich. So the amount of price you're paying is nothing in compared to the experience what you get. And this is what fascinated me, NID's design education model. And the right side, another unsung design educator, Siddharth Ghosh, brilliant minds with a lot of wit and humor. And he always brings empathy is one of the key. If your heart doesn't lie with your work, if your heart is not at this place, your singing, music, performance of any kind is not going to be at par. You may lose the game, but at least you put all your emotion into it. And that is what, when you see the, at least when I see the World Club, all the football matches, because I'm a football fan, and I feel that such emotions, even the losing team and winning team, at the end, they exchange their jersey, they hug each other. What a brilliant gesture of human race. So these three pillars, none of them are in physical mortal world anymore. They gone into immortality. And I am recalling, as student of theirs, directly or indirectly, with my understanding of what gave me the kick after working in the industry to come back to NID, to join as a young faculty, that why design education is more and more and more mentor, because it's, as I said, that it's a studio-based education system, and teacher and students both has to practice. So this is in short, I'll just tell you, one of the festival where I invited Siddharth Ghosh to talk about talk about the design education in design education, what NID actually evolved with. So institutional focus, and this is what I look at NID AP needs to have. We need to foster the culture of responsible and value-centric design education rooted in the traditions of India and Asia. Yeah, why? Because the landmarks are connected. Developing an approach to design for sustainable development. We should design something which should not be unaffordable. It should be easy to maintain. It should be functional. It should come out from concern. It should not be something which doesn't work after some time. there is an anecdote I like to share here. It seems long back, there's a king from Ethiopia went to US and he liked the idea of electric chair as a punishment process. He brought one chair. He said that I will use electric chair to punish the criminals. And then he realized that chair doesn't work in Ethiopia because that kind of power is needed. Ethiopia doesn't generate that much of power in those era. So what he did, he said, I will use it for my chair. And that is the irony when we don't estimate, when don't speculate and anticipate that what is needed for the local need, for the contextual need, for the local people's language to understand and communicate. So this is where I think sustainable development is very important. A culture of design which improvises the quality of life for the masses. So it should not look like that I wear a strange costume and walk on the ramp. But today, I think we need costumes which should be affordable for anyone and everyone, yet we can wear it and we can cope with the virus without much fear or paranoia. So that should be the functional design from concern. And we are fostering a culture of design which ensures the participation of all social groups and improves access to products and service for the widest possible range of users. Converting, leveraging, and embodying tactile knowledge into explicit knowledge to nurture higher growth. Fostering a homogeneous identity that reflects the Indian heritage. So what is the connecting factor when we say it's Indian? So this is something is very important in design education because design is not standalone subject. So research and practice to integrate perspective and knowledge from the fields of art, humanities, science, technology, social science, and commerce, because it has to relate it to trade and commerce and entrepreneurship. So strengthening design education in India to complement emerging domains of global concerns, where we understand the diverse reality of our country and take advantage of that. And we have to nurture the inputs, the upward journey along the pyramid. And then we need to understand the backgrounds of the students because our students are the future ambassador of design for this country. And the transdisciplinary input, like, you know what we talk about, it's end of the day, you are strengthening your design fundamentals, your ability to listen, to see, to feel, to draw, to sense, to recall, to remember, to improvise. And then no matter whatever it is, you have to work with different experts in life. A team of doctors work with different expert areas. So it is not doctor stand alone is performing the operations. So this is one kind of thoughts which is being shared and debate upon. So from here I will go straight to my presentation again. Just give me a point. Yeah. So this is another one where I got a chance when I was teaching there in NID. I got to do a comics residency in Switzerland, and there I discovered quite a bit of fascinating experience of Swiss design. So I'll come to it, but I'll just take you to a little bit of the Swiss experience while doing the Swiss comics design. It is basically nothing to do with what I'm talking now, but yeah. You can see the page?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. I'm not reading the story right now. I'm just talking about, the cultural differences and similarities. So I'm talking about that when we pass by the architectures from yesteryears, I feel that it is very important for us as a design community to document that, to know about it, to tell the story of the past, because these are the junctions where people travel by. I was telling my colleagues that, why we should not document and make a nice publications, a promotion of Vijayawada Junction. It must be having its thousands and thousands of anecdotes. It must be having its own pride stories. And we need to enhance that. We need to really talk about that. Why not we talk about connecting Guntur and Vijayawada with the beautiful tramways, which can have less pollutions. We Indians and Asians are slow moving creature. We really don't move fast unless we play video games. Your psyche and mind is moving faster, but mind it, our body doesn't move so fast. And we also live in a family where we can't ignore our grandparents and children. And I always believe a beautiful animal called tramways is the only solution for our people to embrace with, feel comfortable and secure, and go from one point to another. And then these are the things I basically started talking about from these comics. Then I talk about, like, traveling, roaming around in the streets of Zurich, going to different places. I was lucky to get a mentor, another great mentor, Swiss mentor. His name is Rolf Backler. He told me the stories of each of the things in Zurich and in other cities of Switzerland. And I was amazed to see that how much human mind can memorize, and that is what we have started losing. So this is one of the bar where it's called Ole Ole Bar. This is, I just put it in my story. Mind it, this is a design comics, and this comics is also used by Swiss Art Council in Delhi as part of their literature for a later generation of people to get inspired from. And I was very happy. For me, comics is not only Superman and Spider-Man and Batman. So this is a bar which closes at 11 o'clock in the night. And the most fascinating part in the bar is how a peaceful design solution has to be peaceful. It should promote pacifism. So the bar was filled with 500 alarm clock along with many other artifacts and all. And it ran by three grand old ladies, very kind-hearted, very, very warm. And I asked one of them that why you have 500 alarm clocks hanging here. It's a tiny little pub. So this lady said that, at 11 o'clock, when someone is completely out of control, doesn't want to leave, we don't want to fight. We just make sure every night, 11 o'clock, 500 alarm clock rings together. And no Superman can stay in that blasting sound. So even the worst drunkard run away from the bar, and if they close it down. And I find it is beautiful design solution. How design is not necessarily creating a good looking supersonic automobile. It is important part in our thoughts. And this is where design thinking comes from. It's a synchronization of senses. It is feeling, it is smelling, it is tasting, it is touching, and empathizing. So this is again question come in this evolution. After human race invented wheel, we started moving faster. Then we invented a nuclear weapon. But across the world, children are going hungry. So how the solution can come, where the solution can come from. So move on. I also talk about, Zurich tramways in my stories. I talk about Freitag brothers, how they made a bag from canvases, so everybody can afford. It's a robust bag. Then I talk about the Zurich town. I discovered flea market. I discovered the made in China bronze statue of Ganeshas and Lakshmis. What a strange world. Then I discovered the cyclists, how they love to cycle than taking their own private vehicle. Then I saw some Swiss design. Maybe we can find out that small dog poo toilets. Like if you walk with your dog, if dog poop on the street, there are booths around. You make sure that you clean it. There are certain gloves are provided there. You take the gloves, pick up the dog poop of your own dog, put it in the small bin. Car comes in time to time, they collect it and take it back. What a beautiful solution. So this is one of the experience during my teacher days or faculty days in NID, which kept me moving. And along with that, I try to interpret it is one of my Chitragatha literature book. You know, life is so huge, like NID is so big in terms of history and concept and experience. It is the story of those 5 blind people. So we say that an elephant, and here I talk about cow. My fascination with cow has a different story. I'll tell you in another day. But I talk about that somebody saying cow is a tail, cow is a hoof, cow is a horn, cow is an ear, cow is the mouth, cow is grazing grass, etc., etc. But in totality, stories become complete in harmony when we all work together. And that is where I feel design education also needs to encourage the teamwork to build a community, to build a design community. Otherwise, it's never been a solo journey. So from here, I'll quickly talk about to build that community. I felt that, you know, to listen and exchange and recreate ideas, we need to have some activity, some kind of festival we need to have. So Chitragatha is something which I promote it as a non-plastic festival. We don't use any plastic. We encourage, because student days is such where they should make maximum mistake. They should take more risk. They should not be bothered about what is popular today or what is profit making today, because this is where we also encourages that experiment, go crazy, follow methods, follow the rule, learn all the rules and break it. But make sure that you also be responsible designer, so you don't design something which can pay a price 5 years down the line. And anyway, there are a lot of other thoughts are coming, and these thoughts we need to understand that eventually we are all connected, because the magnetic field of this planet is still working. And the moment magnetic field of this planet is started getting weakening, I don't think we'll be in the same kind of confidence on the street the way we walk. Then we might jump in the moon and have no control over our body. So this is little caution I always remind us, myself and my people around me. And that is the beauty of design education, design thinking, design practice, and design community. So this is one small project. I'll tell you how this Chitragatha expanded. Definitely, if Krishna you find, I like to talk about the Chitragatha stories one day, but not today. But one of the project of Chitragatha where I talk about much before lockdown came, much before internet communication become regular and rampant, but we started using internet with our exchange schools. Because of Swiss experience, I discovered one of the most beautiful school with some of the beautiful faculties there or mentors there, those who practice, those who also teach the students to inspire them with their practice. So this is one of the collaborative project where in 2017 we did this project where we involved sound designers, musicians, dancers from a local Bharatanatyam school, animators, costume designers, stage designers, and to create an unconventional way of telling stories of Bharatanatyam, of particular dances, gestures, and our great philosophy of storytelling of the subcontinent. So this is called parallels. And we used absolutely local affordable materials and mediums. So nothing is imported in this festival. So this is a small piece I'll show you a little bit of the outcome. So you see that there is a front screen, which is nothing but mosquito net. In the backdrop, there is another screen where the back projection happening. On the mosquito net, there is a front projection happening. And in middle, the dancers are dancing. It's in a corridor. It's not a conventional hall. It's on the corridor where everyday people pass by. We just suddenly in the dark of the night, we made it like a performance stage. And people sat in a different distance, like you are sitting on a runway. Yeah, this has to be experienced physically. I mean, we just can't get the feel of it completely on a screen like this. But to tell you that I have an idea for next year, because Andhra Pradesh is rich with traditions, and my next target is Kuchipudi. So we live roll the credit on the mosquito net, projecting on the mosquito net with a backlight off and everything. So it was quite a fun.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is the last bit. Act 3. Act 3 is always fast. I won't take much of your time. So you know that NID is a second in Indian design history after 50 plus years NID Ahmedabad being around like an elephant. But definitely the second in NID is bit like a kind of an ugly duckling. And as KG Subramaniam said that one of the convocation speech beautifully, that analogy from Oscar Wilde, Happy Prince, that this ugly duckling one day will turn into swan because we are worshipping Saraswati in true sense. And we are also the institute under industry and commerce, and definitely Lakshmi will be related to that. And these two sisters will celebrate matriarchy, and this is fast in the East Coast. And I believe that it is very important that we connect. And I very consciously, being a design educator, designer, and not necessarily with a very definite assurance that which will be our arrival point. But I can tell you that the biggest excitement is the campus in Amravati, 50-acre campus. I think it is going to be a brilliant experience. I can foresee, because I always had this experience of when I was studying boring commerce, because I didn't get a good mentor who can actually excite me with commerce. By the way, nothing wrong with the regular subject, because I got a beautiful math teacher and math is still my favorite subject. So I really love to read about mathematics and try to do some solutions secretly. And here, this logo, of course, when we are doing this logo, it's created like, of course, ministry wants us because we are autonomous institute. There is no illusion about that. It is a branch of National Institute of Design Ahmedabad. It is just another National Institute of Design, and I think it is bound to happen much earlier. But it's great that it's happening now. Government of India is taking a bold steps and challenging steps, and anything new definitely has to go through its critic, because it will be always seen as ugly duckling, because there will be huge comparison psychologically we do, like when there is an elephant, white elephant. So what we look at this logo was a kind of, partially I was involved in this conceptualization, which is liked by the ministry. Is I thought that it should connect the place we belong to, the soil we belong to, the chunk of the earth we belong to, and the sound people make there, Telugu. And that is where I talk about the golden proportions, golden ratios. I talk about the curves and straight line. I talk about the motifs and patterns. I talk about what we see, many things in an image, and that is creates an illusion, you know. So it is, nothing is ultimate, nothing is fixed in storytelling. What we came to know in as a student of animation cinema, something called Rashomon effect. It means I will tell you a story, A for apple, and then you will tell that Shekhar said that A for apple and use Apple computer. And then someone say, hey, that person said that Shekhar says that A for not only Apple, you use Apple computer, it is very cool. And then someone will say that, hey, that person says to that person says, Shekhar said he doesn't know anything about other computers. You see how story changes, how evolves, So we as a human being are designed, we come from nowhere. We are trilobites, yeah? And then we evolve that, our spine remains and changes, bone patterns changes. Only thing, since we walk on two legs, we think that we know everything. But end of the day, when you actually dig into the fact that you realize we also carry a huge burden of Google informations. So local knowledge is very important, not only to preserve, to take it forward, to protect it, And this is where we talk about the copyrights and patents and identifying it and take ownership of it. So NIDAP is definitely, I'm serious about it. And Chitragati Amaravathi came along with, because it is the baby which I gave lot of I gave a lot of my time and life and career and kidney and liver and everything, and my family generously supported me, and my students, those who become graduates, those who become entrepreneur, the whole world community responded, and they still continue, and they came to the difficult zone of Guntur Vijayawada highway in the transit campus last year. They came together, they witnessed, they shared, they listened, and they assured they will come back again. Not only that, they will bring many more friends. So definitely next year we hope to celebrate in a much more better way, much more celebratory way, much more healthier and happier way, without doubting, without discarding the immediate society around us, saying that, hey, we are designers. You are not a designer, nothing like that. Come on, we are all designer by creation, this crown of creation, like trees, like stones, like rivers, soils, fruits, everything. See, insects, everything, everything and everything. And design embraces all the disciplines: science, society, art, technology, which is for humankind. So uh, this is 1960s when NID Ahmedabad started their education program. It was happening across the road in another building which is designed by Karbazwe, Sanskar Kendra. And this is the NID building, which took years to come up with. And I think it's almost took 10 years to get what the building today everybody sees and everybody wants to be, thinking that this is Amravati campus, it's not complete, so I better go to Ahmedabad. But I really appreciate and acknowledge my early batches of students. They're really brave hearts. They're realizing the importance of ownership. They're taking pride into it. I can already see the future designers are ready. They're mavericks. They're responsible citizens of this country. And I have full confidence that NIDAP is going to be an institute of future. So happy Navratri to all of you. This is my greetings, and we'll definitely meet again. Yeah. Looking forward, and any question, answer, or discussions, I'll be happy to take.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a very nice for your nice presentation. So I was fortunate to be there with your Chitrakatha 19. We had a session there in your place. I presented my school and its means and methods.
Yeah, right. I feel that, this is what my effort and message that I always feel that, I don't know why I got this responsibility, but I'm glad that I got it. It is like a design project for me. And my challenge is to make my team understand that it is not just another government office or an institute. It is a very responsible design institute of national importance, and each and everyone has a responsibility. So make people, the internal team, aware of what is design education is all about, what is NID Andhra Pradesh is all about, to tell the local people what is NIDAP is all about, to tell the students what NIDAP can do, to tell their parents that, hey, NIDAP is a good institute. Also, to tell the people across that, we are a good institute with a good intention, and we are already doing a lot of interesting stuff. But let me tell you, without people like you, without people of Andhra Pradesh, without people of Vijayawada and Guntur and people in and around, we are nothing. And today is my proposal to all of you that you're welcome, visit us, look around, see things. I hope we'll get into normalcy. We already signed collaborative agreement with AIMS Mangalgiri. We are planning to bring medical students and design students together to work for, develop and design the new normal, to the new world order we are getting into it. It's unpredictable, it's challenging, but we have to move on because the innovation comes from the crisis. We also going on a collaboration with Andhra, this SPA Vijayawada, We collaborating with Samsung Design Academy. We are collaborating with some of the selected design schools across the world, including the Swiss schools and German school, and maybe one school in Sri Lanka because they are close by. And I think a lot more excitement. And mind it that our ministry also giving the EWS quota, which should be utilized from coming academic year, where many needy students might get a chance to study under this economically weaker section quota, and that's what I said, that design has nothing to do with affordability factor, because it should be affordable. It will be affordable for even future talents, those who can become a bright designer, and they can come from any corner of the society. So anyway, any questions?
Good afternoon to everyone. Happy Navratri. And Shekharji, your talk was really inspiring and enlightening to us. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. This is Dr. Babawari. I'm a counseling psychologist. Yeah, Shekharji, I would like to suggest you few things what you want to say about to the parents, how to nurture raise their kids, because
Sure,
how it's yeah.
sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one question. Second question is, what do you want to suggest to the schools? Because as you know that it's a rat race and everybody is worried about only the academic, about the marks. So please shed a light on it. What do you want to suggest to the parents and the schools?
Yeah, I mean, definitely we have a plan, but as I said that I welcome all of you to visit us.
Thank you.
If you're from Vijayawada or nearby
Yeah.
places, just let our, I mean, we have our developing web presence. It's not really fully evolved because we are still an evolving design school. We are very careful about getting good people around as a team. We want genuine people, those who really mean it. They take ownership, they work together, and because it's a very different kind of education system, which unfortunately didn't evolve so earlier so much widely, and that's why the challenge remains that getting the good design educators. But we are always, as I said, that we work with very much one-to-one mentorship program, and we are lucky to be under the ministry umbrella of e-commerce and industry. Definitely our focus is to build the future professionals, but it is a two-way traffic. It is basically when students come from 1 to 12, if they just think that they get, by any chance, if they get through, and just 4 years if they do nothing and expect that their life will be changed, it's not like that. And
Yeah.
our plan is also to collaborate with different schools. We have a plan to reach out to different schools in Andhra Pradesh, different colleges in Andhra Pradesh, and
Hello. Hello.
Maybe the
Hello.
network problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Let us wait.
So the school students can also enroll for this kind of programs, Krishnagar. Can they also?
different communities to network. Our Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Now you're right.
Suddenly the power failure happened. Yeah.
Yeah. We can.
So just came back. Yeah. So, we are always open. Let us. I think it will be definitely, because it's a collaborative process, and I believe the parents are also extended community member of this NID Andhra Pradesh. And as I shown you two picture of NID Ahmedabad 60s when it started, you see the building and are in making. Often parents also spoil their children, saying that, oh, these buildings are not ready, so my boy or my girl can't sleep in the dormitory. There are too many mosquitoes. So we also spoil them. So I think it's a collaborative, as I say, it's a two-way traffic, because we have a 15-year-old girl, and we make sure that together. Like if we eat together, we clean the dishes together. And this is the philosophy of I believe design community, design education is all about. So, and I mean it, and it is humbling down process. And as I told you that we are keep on collaborating, I think we have some good name, and in that process, the Samsung Design Academy is one of the collaboration with corporate worlds, where students in final year get a chance to work for research and development project. And mind it, placement is not a solution, because the job scenarios are changing so rapidly. But I feel that recalling my student days in NID, I don't think that I will ever thought that I will become a director and directing a new design schools. I started my journey as a cartoonist. Yeah. So definitely that education what gives me or gave me confidence to, and the reality to the fact that there is no shortcut. And this is very important, because ours is also not only theory. It is not a typical confined classroom scenario. Once the exam selection process is very stringent, once one gets through, there is no more exam. There is evaluation process. There is jury system. It means student has to be more self-driven. Yeah, and faculty also has to practice. So, so the conversation, keeps lot of confusions and doubts away, and that is where I call this is a costly education, not financially. I mean, there are private design schools, you can check their fees, but NID fees are also, I believe, is not skyrocketing fees. The opportunity and the exposure they'll be getting, it's amazing. Like for example, AIMS collaboration, students will get a chance to, and they can choose in future whether they want to go to NASA, or whether they want to go to local school, or whether they want to come back to NID to become the future teacher. So we encourage them to become entrepreneur or designpreneur.
Yeah, wonderful, Shekharji. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that you have spoken about sustainable development, sustainable designing. That's the need of our. And
It's very
second thing,
important. It's very important. It's very important.
yeah, and you also emphasize
Shekhar,
about local cultures. That's
Yeah.
really
Shekhar
good.
ji,
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Welcome.
Shekhar ji,
Ah,
I have got one question, doubt.
yeah, sure.
So, being a consumer of your institute, my student is there,
Yeah, of
Karthik.
course. Yeah.
See, you were talking about this human-centric design thinking. Design thinking is more about human-centric method.
Yeah.
So, how far is it successful that students coming out of NID are really connected with human-centric thinking? But what I have seen is, what I think is, they are more towards benefiting corporate sector. So this doubt, I have been struggling to know whether my doubt is genuine or not. Another thing is sustainability is another thing we are talking about most of the time. But corporate sector, I think they try to produce such a product that's non-sustainable, which wears out quickly, so that they can get more profits by selling repeatedly newly designed things. So how far your institute is successful in this regard?
I don't know, since I always try to relate with my journey of things. One thing I learned, it's called pragmatic approach. Basically, an institute which comes under commerce and industry, as I said, that it has to directly related to the economics. And I think end of the day, many of our students, when I tell my students that, student days is the thing to be ideal, to get inspired, to become the agent of change, and change for good. But when you go out and the outside world, and okay, maybe my time was different, and as I quote from Taylor, that I consciously try not to judge a child of today's time from my time. So we
Yes.
look at that today's only thing is striking a conversation is very important. But what I tell you that since we are a only 5 years old institute, why I'm saying 5, for me, it's a 2-year-old institute.
Not only your institutes are keeping even NID in mind, NID Ahmedabad in mind.
Yeah. So I feel that many of our contemporaries and future later days batches and all, many of them went to corporate and they did quite well. And after that, they started their own venture. And it is perhaps a pragmatic approach that where you know that you need to build certain bit of fodder for your own sustainability, and then you start pursuing it. Many also just pass out and went ahead and went to their own state and started working in a craft sector, like empowering the craftspeople. Many also in recent trend I saw started developing themselves as an educator, design educator, and many also may not be able to kind of come out from the corporate that assembly line thing because of the temptation. And also somewhere it also works with, since we get from the one good thing about so far touchwood that we get students from different economic group. So not necessarily a student might be in a blessed situation, had to take a job, and that job gives a perhaps a fast recovery of the education loan, and it's become a double-sided blade. So there are multiple scenario, but I feel that Karthik kind of people are welcome students for a future generation of educators to grow. Education which is not it is not a gallery learning, it is a kind of a studio learning. It's doing things, it's in the process you start doing things. Like for example, as I again repeat that with AIMS or Samsung, we are bringing them to do research and development project where it is basically connecting with the real life scenario. So and I always say that, I always tell my students, be romantic, be dreamer when you are a student, but also get ready to wash your dishes to earn money when you go out, because nobody knows you when you go out. So I try to de-glamorize, and I believe my young team of faculty also will gain confidence to, and so far I really enjoy it, because for me, being with the young students is almost like a medicine. They keep you, they really keep you young. They really keep you young, because and I am often I learn from them. So in recent past, especially during Corona times, I see there are a lot of changes in attitude in big companies are also coming. Because if you look at it, one is realizing that the big industry formula might not work always. So there are parallel economy, there are home-based economy, there are, like as I said, that how Andhra Pradesh can rediscover and revive a certain culture to take ownership, and with a little design twist. So how one can and I always feel that I wish that Vijayawada and Guntur can be connected with tramways, so this is something myself and Vijayawada and SPA Vijayawada, we are part of the city architecture board now, and maybe we can propose something, which is, and the kind of heat that region generate, one can always look at the solar power and all these things. There is no harm in dreaming, but it has to reach to policymakers. So. But yes, I'll tell you, Krishna, it's a free choice each individuals makes, and I think that is the strength of our design education, which give confidence to them. And if you see today, YouTube is also the university. Like many of the young ones learning much faster.
Yes.
So my recent question comes that what is the role of a physical institute? That when I learn everything on YouTube, on internet, then when I come to an institute, what is the role of a student? What is the role of a teacher? What is the role of the administrative staff? What is the role of that institute or organization together? So this is the new design problem which we are all facing, and this is where I feel only solution is to be in practice. So
So
and a hypothetical practice.
yeah, the last few words are very important for us, sir. During Corona days, children are really going through YouTube and other resources and getting the information. Now, after coming back to school, we are going to face the question: what is the need of teacher? If they are just giving information or just
Yeah, true.
extending, yeah.
True, but
So,
still, I believe that
yeah.
internet doesn't give you the local knowledge yet.
Yes, and another thing is children want to meet each other and play with each other. That physical meeting is very important. That's the only
And
thing they expect from school. Even our children told us, why do you like to come back again? They said just to meet our friends. First thing.
yeah, absolutely. My daughter is telling the same that today she went to her friend's birthday and she's very happy. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's very it's important. It is a basis of the civil society. And another thing what we look at is also that like how we see
Hmm?
uh, the interaction with like this is another plan we have with NIDAP, that we should get connected with different schools, like so it can be a part of the curriculum. One chunk of our curriculum can connect to different schools, so our students also can be an representative, go to those schools and do something, so yeah. But first and foremost thing that we have to get into the new normal, like how we like really get into some kind of normalcy,
Yes.
yeah. But washing hands and putting on mask is very important. We just can't ignore that, because it's an invisible enemy. We don't know. And another good thing I feel that challenge will be the new education policy. So if
Yeah.
from the
NEP.
school we encourage on the vocational program, then definitely I think design schools have a lot more role to play, especially National Institute of Design kind of institute. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Any more questions? You can unmute yourself and ask, Mukherjee.
Hello.
Hello,
Go on.
Hi, sir. This is Sanjana here.
Sanjana.
Uh,
Hello. Yeah.
my question to you, sir. I have just heard recently about whole of your story from your beginning. So my story is even similar to yours. I'm a commerce graduate, sir, and I'm just 25. But I have always been
Yeah.
keen on design and creativity since my childhood.
Okay.
My question is that, sir, I am thinking of taking up a corporate job, but I still have my heart into the creative field. So I mean, how should I approach my life, sir? I mean, right now my career, my family is very supportive, and they say whatever you want to do, you can do it. If you want to take up creative field, they say they support me in that too. But at this juncture, I'm very confused, sir. So what is your take on that, sir? Should I really give a shot in the creative field, like NID or something related to that, or should I take up a corporate job and do a side hustle in the creative field?
Oh, that's a good question. I think also if you see new education policies giving an option of switching over from one subject to another, and which is very natural. Like, if you look at it, I mean, before commerce, I'll tell you, because of the pressure of stereotyping, I had to take science in my higher school in 11th and 12th. I couldn't do well. Then commerce in my college days, I couldn't do well. And then somehow just keep on doing things which I love to do. It fetched me some kind of break. Yeah. But nothing goes waste, as I said, right? And now I like to know where you're from.
I am from Hyderabad, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. Uh, See, choice is yours, but you can always try out, like if you're a commerce graduate, you can always try out not being a student, because I believe we always remain student. Because I think you should also explore a job. Maybe you can apply. You never know. Maybe you can apply a job as an accounts assistant. In a design school, and you get closer to design school, and maybe you can you can make the accounts team more design educated with your interest into creativity, and that way our design team will become more comfortable to communicate with the accounts team, and then it will be a beautifully design enable accountancy. Like for example, if you look at it, even our forms, filling up the forms, the information, how we design the information, how we understand there is a problem in the information is being given in the form. Like we have so much of confusions, and we are such a complex community. We are diverse. We speak different language. We speak common English in a different manner. We understand in a different manner. So design today is needed even in the micro level, just to modify it, correct it. So you might be a better accounts expert in design with design understanding. So these are the kind of generation I am looking for, at least from NIDAP. That I was telling some of my colleagues that there should be administration, accounts, security. Every department should have 1 or 2 person who is also a designer, and vice versa. So design community also need to understand finance. It's like home, right? All of our mothers know how to do the budgeting, yeah, and
Yeah.
also they cook food for you. They know that how to bargain and barter, all these things, how to tend when somebody is not well. So I think our mothers perhaps are lowly paid professionals in this society. So we need to really relook how a social structure also can bring a change. So design is very liberating and progressive things, but but it is India has its own traditional design practices. We need to really rediscover that, restore it, and preserve it. At the same time, we have to cope with, because we are amazingly progressive race, which we need to believe in that, because I always feel that we invented zero, so that's why the computer language came into the being. And that's why people from Vijayawada once flooded Silicon Valley, I believe. So it's like a myth now. I don't know, but to look at it, that so how we can say that I can see that maybe the reverse migration will start. Maybe people will start coming back to India, because even across the countries, not only India, even the foreign nationals are keen to come to India. It's like, so think about it. Don't think in silo. Don't think that because we are multitaskers. We are multidisciplinary people. Like we do
Hello. May I ask a question, sir? Hello.
Sure, definitely.
Namaste,
Yeah, I can hear
Shekhar
you.
garu.
Namaste.
Thank you very much for the wonderful session.
It's my pleasure.
Uh, uh, my question is, are the different design schools in India alike? I mean, do they have similar or uniform academic inputs, or how different are they?
I think
What guides them actually? Do they
yeah
have any?
yeah, I'll tell you. My whatever understanding I have so far, NID being the first design schools, which is a fusion of Bauhaus and Ulm, and also to some extent Tego school, and but largely taking from the Bauhaus. So it is, the curriculum also evolved with certain standard, and that is being foolproof and time tested. So the the design foundation curriculum of NID is largely followed by most of the design schools in this country. Name of the courses might be different, like the title of the courses may be different, duration may be different, the assignment nature may be different, but the skeleton remains more or less same. And the delivery and the evaluation process might be different from one to one. Like some design schools maybe to attract students, they collaborate with private design universities. So they might have exam, they might to give degree, certain kind of improvisation they do, but the skeleton of the design curriculum is almost same, which is evolved from National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad, being the
So
first
there
design
are
school.
curriculum guidelines.
Yes, yes, of course. Of course.
Thank you.
Sir, can I ask a question?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, unless you're late for your lunch. So.
Not an issue. So I'm Ramchandra, sir. I work with one NGO called Vasan in Hyderabad.
Okay.
I know NID Ahmedabad collaborated on water issues long back when I was working in Ahmedabad. I graduated from CEPT and I was interacting with some faculty members in my stay in Ahmedabad. Professor Ashok Chatterjee and all, they were working on water issues long back.
Yes,
Currently, I'm working on water resource center, establishing some kind of community-based water resource center in Andhra Pradesh, Prakasham district, and also likely to make it a kind of virtual resource center for water, given the current technology and given the current trend of seeking knowledge. In this process, I was wondering whether we could take some guidance from NID in designing and developing some kind of strategy on water issues.
We'll be very happy to listen to further. Please contact us. I think maybe post Navratri, I think we can definitely discuss, and we can always collaborate, because another good thing about design curriculum where we encourage more classroom scenarios, more academic collaborations, because this is where it become a fertile ground for doing research, and trial, so you might get a better result from, because we get the younger minds, and they're very fertile, and they will be very excited to be part of this, and what we call this line, the catch them young. I think that is something we'll be very open and happy to communicate with you. I mean, our communication there on our website, and please communicate with us. Yeah, definitely.
Sure. Thanks very much.
Shekhar Garu, there are a few 9th and 10th class students here. Can you say a few words addressing them?
About exam?
No.
About design thinking, or about this field.
I don't know. I mean, I'll tell all of you, just you people are the future, and you are globally exposed, and you people know what's happening in Tokyo or New York faster than what's happening in your hometown. So balance it, know a little bit what's happening at home, what's happening in your home neighborhood. Ask your grandparents and parents that what was their childhood, write a note about it, or find out what are the festival foods, find out, something little more about your family. So this will be part of our Museum of Natural History. This country needs to have badly. So we can differentiate between Indians and Red Indians. Yeah. So it's nothing wrong if you get excited about Spider-Man, but let us also know the local spiders, and make sure that we don't kill all the insects. It's very important that ecology is got badly affected. So and be curious, and it will be perhaps more challenging situation today, but maybe some solution will come from young minds like you. So because there is a lot of encouragement coming from Government of India about innovations, about design solutions, design ideas. Yeah. So and we all NIDs are definitely in dialogue that how it can create a larger network of design thinking, design solution, design projects, design awareness, and how we go back to the fact that design starts from home. Yeah.
So if there is nobody else, I have two requests, Mukherjee garu.
Yeah.
One is, can NID Amaravathi try to design a course for children or for teachers, something like curriculum design, so that
Yeah, I
Some
think
design thinking is included even from the beginning of the school days. So we are all missing that actually. We are running with the syllabus and all. So that is
I
one
think
thing.
it will definitely, it will evolve. It will evolve with the time. It is that we are going through this transition period, like we are kind of almost on a threshold. So I hope that next year we will be able to get into our physical activity. And July, August, I'm hoping to migrate to the new campus. And it's the 50-acre land is big enough, so we and my plan is not to fill it up with concrete. There are too much of concrete happening, so I think we need to understand that how. And in NIDAP we are already collaborating with scientists and technologists. We are open, and you are already one of us, so maybe you will be instrumental to connect few more others, so I think it's very important that we get connected with responsible, curious, sincere people from Andhra Pradesh and take pride about this particular institute, because it's a very special kind of institute. It is something I tell you from my experience. It is 4 years of uh, exciting journey. Like, and as I said that how it connects, like so it is not in isolation, like what happened unfortunately, like you get into the school and you go mechanically, like you only prepare for the exams and you get the highest marks, and you go through the pressure of become good at all the 10 subjects. But in design education we said that trial and error, do the practice and find the strength. You try out 6 subjects, 7 subjects, 8 subjects, and among that you find one subject you are good at, and that subject you should do it with all sincerity. Even in the sports team we see that a best goalkeeper is a best goalkeeper. you know so simple as that. So
My second request, Shekharji, is if adults like I, if they are very much interested in exploring design, so collaborating with your institute, or do you design any course, at least part-time courses or weekdays courses, something like that, so that we
yeah,
also come
I
to
think
know
yeah,
something about design thinking and get back to schools or their respective institutes and start
maybe
being their
Krishna ji,
best. Yeah,
yeah, Krishna ji, what we can do, we can plan another online seminar specifically focus on the educators,
yeah.
and we can
Sure,
definitely
sir.
talk in detail. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
There is another guy who wants to pose a question. Arunachalam?
Uh, yeah, hi.
Anchal. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir, for this opportunity. And I really loved your presentation. It was very motivating. And
Thank you very much.
based out of Delhi, I have a question for very young children, like 5 or 6 years old. When I was going through your presentation, you mentioned that you used to draw everywhere and you grew up listening to stories, and that kind of, expanded your imagination to the level where you are today. So what is your recommendation, that how should we motivate, or how should we let their creativity grow? Because what I see nowadays is happening that after a while, like, children at 5 and 6 are very creative, but suddenly with so much of pressure and all, by at the age of 10 or 11,
Yes.
that starts to go away. And so how should we maintain that? And technology is a very big thing nowadays. Children are getting addicted to it. So what is your take on, how much of exposure to technology should be given to this age, where I believe that you were not even taught how to use a particular color medium, like you were just given watercolors to explore, whereas everything now is being taught and instructed. So if you
Yeah, I know.
throw a little bit of light on this, that will be very nice, sir. Thank you.
Very, very difficult to answer, like, but honestly, I'll tell you, I don't know. Let the children play, and even if they are dealing with the technology, let it be. But perhaps we have to also see that what is the content in the technology. Like, that is what is our concern. And design school. What we talk about, and since we are being the again part of the Minister of Commerce and Industry, being with the government of India, we have definitely that responsibility that, different thoughts, how we bring into it. So maybe what you were talking about, like, as I said, that me and my wife, she's also into education. And we were talking about that there should be perhaps design volunteers, like who can come and spend some time with the children at home. Like, it's kind of a home service, where, or some kind of service, some kind of communications with this design volunteers where your children can communicate with. But yes, I know I don't have any solution yet, but maybe something will come out, because it's a big challenge, because of this early glued to the technology is also bringing other challenges like loss of languages, loss of your own original thinking. I know a child who is only speaking like Doraemon, and it's such an irony that boy is glued only watch Doraemon and only speaking that gibberish, So how the linguist can come into the design education, how the language experts can come into the design education, So it's kind of a never-ending cycle. But I feel that maybe parents also need to come on board, and maybe the institute like ours can organize some kind of conversation channel, that is something is very important. And it is not your own problem, it is many other problem, so I can tell you one story. I generally use a pacifist way, peaceful way of finding a solution. As I told you, that alarm clock in the bar where nobody can stays at 11 o'clock in the night, all the 500 alarm clock rings together. So you have to run away from that small space, something like that. One of our niece, she was very young. Niece was glued to the television whole day, skipping lunch and food and this and that. So, of course, her mother was telling that, scolding these, that. It didn't work. It rather become negative, and she got more and more glued to the television out of anger. And this is also happened in us unknowingly, when the younger one will always rebel against the elder ones. So I one day said that, okay, today is a special day. From early morning, 6 o'clock in the morning till throughout the night, you should sit in front of the television. Don't move. You have to only sit in front of the television. Don't move. Just be. It's all yours. And then we went to breakfast, and after some time, she switched off the TV and she came and joined us for the food. Sometimes this experiment also might work. I don't know. But maybe. We should do a program called PG program, Parental Guidance Program in Design. Something, because we all parents also got busy. Maybe, I don't know, I'm talking like this. Maybe I also didn't give enough time to my daughter in her growing up years, so maybe, I don't know. So it's a very important, it's not one answer to your question.
Yes, sir. So, the thing is that, yeah, I got your point, but, so my children are currently being homeschooled and they're 5 or 6 and they have very limited access to technology. What I meant was that they are naturally drawing all the time. Like in 12 hours, I see them drawing for 6 hours a day and it's all pure imagination. So how can we, not let that get stunted over a period of time? So, so that it grows and it stays with them. That is another question that I had. Yeah. And technology, I meant was that, because we are spending already so much of time with them. So, like what should be the role of technology in enhancing that potential and not diminishing it?
I think technology is anyway for mankind, but that's why we say that mentorship. But and every child is a born artist. I think we all start drawing picture than words. It's very natural thing. It's like the day we start walking on two legs. It's a repetition of the human evolution, and we start drawing things. We start drawing things, and we don't draw from imagination. We draw from image they see around, and then that imagination come out from that image. And if they draw, let them draw, like let them draw, and whatever manner. And if they get also exposed to different mediums of technology, let them also draw. And sometimes in between in the life, they might draw less, they might stop drawing, but then again they will struggle to draw back. Like what happened, all kind of drawings are welcome. And then design school, when they come, if they come to schools like ours, then our job is to unlearn their drawing, what they come through. Because many of them, like when we were younger, we used to draw Mickey Mouse. Later, some generation drew Spider-Man and Superman and Batman. And then some generation is drawing a lot of manga. Like today, it is a lot of manga. Every hairstyle looks like manga. If you study the eyes, they look like manga. Yeah, it's an influence of Japanese popularity of commercial medium, the TV series and all, and games. But there, as schools like ours, we also encourage them to discover their natural way to draw. And then we expose them to both Western and Eastern way of drawing. Yeah, like how Western way of drawing is more industrial draftsmanship of drawing, where they learn the anatomy, they learn the proportions and volumes and light and shade, and then at the same time they learn to draw from nature, which is or learn to draw from our temple architecture. Yeah, that's so it's a journey, and I'm glad that you are aware of this and you are encouraging your kid to draw. Let them draw.
Yeah,
no problem.
Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
simple. Anshulji, your formula is working. Just continue with the formula.
Thank you.
Shekharji, after a long time, you went back to your hometown, and we have taken 2 hours of your your time, and also just before lunch. So, we would like to say many thanks to you for giving wonderful talk.
I don't know whether it made any sense, but thank you.
Yeah, definitely. But we'd like to have one more session on what you proposed for the educators. Surely we're looking forward for that session.
Yeah, looking forward to work together.
Yes, yes, sir.
NIDAP is an authentic institute, so we won't run away. We are there. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Have a nice day.
Thank you, everybody. Stay safe. Be happy. Bye bye.